All right. Get ready for a deep dive into a world you probably don't think too much about the world inside your gut.
Yeah.
Today, we are going deep into the surprising connection between your gut and obesity.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Whether you're prepping for a big health presentation, trying to understand some recent research you've seen, or you're just curious, this is the deep dive for you. We've got this fascinating scientific journal article titled Gut Microbiota in Obesity. And it's really going to change how you think about weight management.
Yeah, we always hear about calories in and calories out.
Right.
But what if I told you that the trillions of microbes that are actually in your gut could be playing a much bigger role in weight management than we ever thought?
Trillions. Okay, now we're talking serious numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a lot of microscopic roommates in there.
It is. It is.
But they're not just hanging out rent-free, are they?
No. They're working hard. They are essential. They have vital jobs. Things like breaking down food, producing vitamins. They support your immune system, and they even can influence your metabolism. So they're a busy, bustling community working really hard to keep you healthy.
Okay, so when we talk about gut microbiota, what exactly are we talking about? What does it mean to have a healthy gut?
So gut microbiota is the collective term for all the tiny organisms that live in your digestive tract. So bacteria, fungi, viruses, the whole gang's there.
Right.
And a healthy gut is all about diversity and balance.
So it's not just about having good bacteria, it's about having like the right mix of everything in there.
Exactly. You want a diverse community of microbes, just like a thriving ecosystem. And this community needs to be resilient. It needs to be able to bounce back from disruptions, like if you take antibiotics or if your diet changes. Think of it like a rainforest. You want a variety of species in there, kind of keeping everything in check.
A rainforest in my gut. I like that imagery.
It's a good one.
So how does this internal rainforest, how does that relate to obesity?
So this is where things get really, really interesting. Scientists, they actually started to uncover this link when they were studying germ-free mice. Now, these are mice that are raised without any gut microbes.
Okay.
And what they did is they transplanted gut microbes from conventionally raised mice into these germ-free mice. And you know what? What they found was fascinating. The germ-free mice saw an increase in their fat and their insulin resistance, even when they were eating less food.
Wow. So even if you're like watching what you eat, your gut bacteria could still be working against you.
It's possible. It's possible.
So how does that even work?
So early research focused on two main types of bacteria, firmicutes and bacteroidetes. And initially, scientists, they thought that a higher ratio of firmicutes to bacteroidetes was linked to obesity.
Okay, so more firmicutes equals more weight gain.
Right, that was the thought. However, as research continued, what they found is it's not that cut and dry. It's way more nuanced than that. And actually, in some cases, a lower ratio was observed in individuals with obesity.
Really?
Yeah, it's more complicated than just looking at those two groups.
Okay, so it's more than just looking at those two bacterial groups.
Exactly. It turns out that the role of specific bacteria can really vary depending on the strain. So, for example, you can have some lactobacillus strains that are actually linked to obesity, while others seem to help with weight loss. So it's not just about having good or bad bacteria, it's really about the specific types and how they're balanced in your gut.
It is like making me realize there's a whole world going on in my gut that I have never even thought about before.
Yeah.
But how do these little microscopic tenants actually influence our weight?
Well, that is the million-dollar question that researchers are trying to figure out.
Right.
There are several ways, it seems, that gut bacteria might be tipping the scales. So things like how much energy your body absorbs from food, how your appetite is controlled, how your body stores fat, and even chronic inflammation can all be influenced by your gut bacteria. And believe it or not, they can even mess with your internal clock, your circadian rhythm.
Hold on, they're influencing my sleep too.
They can.
Okay. I think we need to break this down a little
Yes,
bit.
absolutely.
Let's start with energy absorption.
Okay.
What's going on there?
All right, well, think of it this way. Some people's gut microbiota might be like a super efficient engine.
Okay.
They're really good at extracting energy from food, more so than others.
So it's like some people get more bang for their buck, calorie-wise?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
And the key players in all of this are what we call short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs.
SCFAs, I've heard of those. Aren't those good for you?
They can be. SCFAs, they help regulate your energy, and they can even act as fuel for the cells in your body. However, too much of a good thing can backfire.
Right.
And when it comes to SCFAs, when you have an excess of them, they can actually contribute to weight gain.
Oh, wow. So you really do want to think twice before you go back for that second serving of fries.
Yeah, it's all about balance,
Right,
right?
right. Because while some SCFAs are good, too much, and it tips the scales toward weight gain.
Exactly.
But what about appetite? How do gut microbes get in our heads like that?
Well, this is where this fascinating thing called the gut-brain axis comes in.
Okay.
So this is basically a communication highway between your gut and your brain, and it plays a crucial role in regulating your appetite.
Wow.
Your gut bacteria can actually send signals to your brain, and it can even influence the production of hormones that can tell you when you're full.
So my gut bacteria could be whispering to my brain, eat more, or time to stop.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
So, for example, they can actually influence the release of GLP-1. Now, this is a hormone that signals a feeling of fullness or satiety, and it's not just about feeling full. Some bacteria can even have an impact on how our bodies store fat by controlling certain enzymes, like lipoprotein lipase or LPL.
Wow. These little guys are really, like, pulling the strings.
They're pretty powerful for something so small.
Yeah, they are. But we also mentioned inflammation. How does that fit into all of this?
Well, so when there's an imbalance in your gut microbiota, we call this dysbiosis.
Okay.
And this can actually trigger inflammation.
Okay.
And, chronic inflammation is a hallmark of obesity and a lot of diseases that are related to obesity.
So this imbalance can actually, like, set the stage for some more serious health problems down the road.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
And this is where a component called LPS or lipopolysaccharide comes in.
Okay.
So LPS is an endotoxin that's produced by certain bacteria, and this can actually trigger inflammation throughout your entire body. So essentially you have this dysbiosis in your gut, this leads to inflammation, and this contributes to obesity and other health issues.
Wow. So it's like a domino effect starting in your gut. But isn't there something that can actually help reduce that inflammation?
There is.
Yeah.
So some of the beneficial SCFAs, like we talked about before, one in particular called butyrate, can actually help reduce inflammation.
Oh, okay.
But there's another piece to this puzzle that we haven't touched on yet, and that's the impact of gut bacteria on your circadian rhythm.
Right. You mentioned that they could mess with our sleep.
Exactly.
So how does that work?
So your circadian rhythm is basically your body's internal clock.
Okay.
And disruptions to this clock have actually been linked to weight gain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it seems that your gut bacteria, they actually play a pretty big role in keeping that clock running smoothly.
So like when you travel across time zones and you just feel totally off?
Exactly, exactly.
Oh.
Studies have shown that when you have disruptions to that gut microbiota, it can actually throw off your circadian rhythm
Wow.
and potentially lead to weight gain.
So not getting enough sleep can disrupt my gut bacteria, which could make me more likely to gain weight. It's like a vicious cycle.
It can be. It can be.
So is there anything that we can do about this? Like, are we stuck with the gut microbes that we're born with, or can we actually change them?
So while genetics do play a role, environmental factors have a much greater impact on your gut microbiota.
Oh, okay. So I'm not destined to inherit my parents' gut issues.
Not at all. Not at all. Even identical twins that are raised together, they can have significantly different gut microbiomes.
Really?
Yeah, which means that you have the power to influence your gut health through the lifestyle choices that you make.
Okay, that's good news.
It is good news. It is good news.
So if it's not all about our genes, what are those environmental factors that really shape our gut?
Well, the biggest one, and this is probably not going to be a huge surprise, is diet.
Okay.
High-fat, high-sugar diets, they've been shown to significantly alter the composition of your gut microbiota.
So those sugary drinks and processed foods aren't only bad for our waistlines, they're also wreaking havoc on our gut bacteria.
You got it. But it's not just what you eat.
Right.
Other lifestyle factors, like if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're chronically stressed, even certain medications can have an impact on your gut.
Wow. So taking care of ourselves is essential for a healthy gut.
Absolutely. And that brings us to one of the most important takeaways from all this research. You have the power to influence your gut health through conscious choices that you make every single day.
That's empowering. So it's not just our genetics. We can actually take steps to nurture a healthier gut. But what steps can we take?
Well, that is the perfect segue into our next section, where we're going to explore some specific strategies for cultivating a thriving, healthy gut microbiota, from dietary changes to even the potential role of probiotics.
Stay tuned.
Who?
Before we went to break, we were talking about how everything from the food we eat to the amount of sleep we get can really influence our gut bacteria. And I think we're all eager to know what we can actually do to foster a healthier gut. What changes can we make to really cultivate a thriving internal ecosystem?
Well, if you picture your gut like a garden, you need to give those good bacteria the right nutrients to flourish.
So what kind of fertilizer does a healthy gut need?
I like that. I like that analogy. One key fertilizer is prebiotics.
Okay.
These are types of fiber that our bodies can't digest, but they act like food for our gut bacteria.
Okay, so where can we find these gut-friendly fibers? Do we need to be eating exotic superfoods?
No, not at all. You can find prebiotics in a lot of everyday foods.
Okay.
Things like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, even apples.
Oh, okay.
It's about making small, sustainable changes to your diet that can make a big difference over time.
That's reassuring. So you don't need to overhaul your entire eating plan. You can just incorporate more of these prebiotic-rich foods.
Exactly.
But what about probiotics? I hear a lot about those. Do they play a role in gut health too?
They absolutely do.
Mhm.
Probiotics are live bacteria that when you consume them in adequate amounts can give you a health benefit.
So it's like giving your gut a direct boost of those good guys.
Precisely. You can find probiotics in some fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And of course, there are also probiotic supplements available.
But with so many different probiotics on the market, how do you even know which ones to choose? It's kind of overwhelming.
It is. It's a great point. And it's important to remember that not all probiotics are created equal.
Okay.
They contain different strains of bacteria, and certain strains might be more beneficial for specific purposes.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. It's about finding the right probiotic for your specific needs.
Okay.
Some might be targeted for digestive health, while others might focus on immune function. So it's worth doing your research and even maybe consulting with your doctor or a registered dietitian to find the right probiotic for you.
So prebiotics and probiotics are key for a healthy gut. But remember, a balanced diet with plenty of those prebiotic-rich foods is the foundation.
Yeah,
Probiotics can be a helpful addition, but they're not a magic solution on their own.
exactly.
Are there any other lifestyle factors that come into play when we're talking about gut health?
Definitely. Remember how we talked about the impact of stress on your gut bacteria?
Yes.
Well, managing your stress through things like mindfulness, meditation, or yoga, those can actually have a positive ripple effect on your gut health.
That makes sense. And what about sleep? We know that lack of sleep disrupts our circadian rhythm.
Right. And like we discussed, that disruption can really impact your gut bacteria.
Yeah.
So aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night to really support your gut health and your overall well-being.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is. Diet, stress, sleep, they all play a role.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing that we've learned today, it's that the connection between our gut and our weight is incredibly complex.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And while research is ongoing, I think one thing that's for sure is that nurturing a healthy gut is vital for overall health, including weight management.
It's been a real eye-opener, I have to say. I have a newfound appreciation for the incredible world that's inside my gut.
Me too.
And even more importantly, I feel empowered to make choices that support its health.
I love that. I love that. Knowledge is power.
It is.
And that sense of empowerment is what we aim for.
Absolutely. This has definitely been a deep dive into this fascinating world of our gut. But I'm curious to know, what's next on the horizon for research in this field? What are some of the, emerging areas that scientists are exploring?
Well, that's where things get really, really exciting.
Okay.
Scientists are investigating some promising avenues. For example, they're looking into fecal microbiota transplantation.
Wait, fecal transplantation? You mean like a gut bacteria transplant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It involves taking healthy gut bacteria from a donor and transplanting it into someone who has dysbiosis. And it's showing some really promising results in treating certain conditions. But of course, more research is needed.
Wow, that's incredible. So fecal transplants, new probiotics, personalized gut health solutions. The future of this field seems full of possibilities.
Oh, it really does. And who knows what other amazing discoveries await us. This is really just the beginning of our understanding of how much the gut can influence our lives.
Well, this deep dive has been mind-blowing. We've learned about the sheer scale of the gut microbiota, how important it is, its fascinating and complex connection to obesity, and the fact that we can actually influence its health through the choices that we make. It's pretty amazing.
It is. And let's not forget the vital role of ongoing research, too. Every day, scientists are making new discoveries, just painting a clearer and clearer picture of this intricate gut-body connection.
It really is a journey of discovery that we're all on together.
We are.
And as we've seen today, even the smallest players, those trillions of microbes that are living in our gut, can have a really profound impact on our health.
It's incredible.
It is. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of gut microbiota. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of your own amazing body.